It looks like we have a lot of somewhat familiars with Overleaf, um, and a lot of beginners and a few confident Overleaf users as well. So that's fantastic. So this is really an intro level webinar, and we'll go through some introductory information, both a little bit about Overleaf and about LaTeX. We're going to go over some LaTeX basics, some very, very basic concepts within LaTeX. And then I'll take you for a tour in the project, and we'll do a live demo and have you create a new project. We'll talk about rich text mode, how to edit, how to share, and we'll have plenty of time for questions and answers. And like I said before, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in that question and answer panel at any time. And we'll either get to them during the presentation or during the question and answer period. So you might be wondering why I am showing you a picture of the pod parking vehicle at Heathrow's Terminal 5. And this is really where Overleaf began. Our two co-founders, John Hammersley and John Lees-Miller, were math PhDs. And they were working on making these driverless taxis a reality. And because they were and still are mathematicians, they were working in LaTeX. And LaTeX, as many of you probably know, is really a great tool for writing in mathematics and scientific notation, where you might have lots of special characters and special formatting as well. It's really great also if you're submitting things for publication and you have lots of requirements about how things need to look. So LaTeX allows you to write your document in plain text, and you tag it with these commands that actually describe its structure and meaning. So if you've ever seen HTML, it's a little bit like that, where you're telling the compiler what to do. And so LaTeX will process your text and your commands, and you'll have some text and commands, and then they'll be compiled, and you'll come up with a nice list or an inserted image or a nice equation. And then this is what it looks like in a larger document. So this is actually a screenshot from Overleaf, and we'll go into a demo in just a minute. But this shows you that you can actually write some very specific instructions on how to display this mathematical expression, and then you have that rendered over here in your PDF preview. And so just to give you a quick peek at a couple of LaTeX basics, and I'm going to provide you with some other getting started resources as well. Commands start with a backslash. Arguments are in curly braces, so that tells LaTeX about the command you just gave it. If you want to comment something out, you do that with the %sign. And then there are certain characters that have special meanings in LaTeX. So in order for those to display in your output, you have to escape them with a backslash. And if you ever have collaborated with something like Word, you'll know how easy it is to get out of sync really quickly. And that's just emailing around one file back and forth. And in LaTeX, you have multiple files. So you'll have a main file and potentially multiple main files, a class file, a style file, which tell LaTeX what to make your text look like. Image files are held separately, and then if you have references, you'll have a bib file as well. So you can imagine that John and John were having a hard time passing their work back and forth. And anytime you're writing academic work or collaborating with others or writing something for publication, collaboration is necessary, and it can be troublesome. So they decided that they wanted to make something that would have one version in the cloud for everyone. So you wouldn't have to install anything locally. You could control who was allowed to see and edit your document. And while they were at it, they integrated in some other services and also introduced a few other nice features as well. So now I'd like to go and just take you into a demo. And there is a sample project. This is a read-only link to a sample project in Overleaf. If you want to take a look at that, it's bit.ly/overleaf-intro. And that will open up a read-only copy. And I'm actually going to go into this copy myself, and I will show you how to create a new project based off of this one. So the first thing, of course, when you're starting Overleaf is you want to create a new project. So if you go into the menu, you can see there's a copy project button here. So you can create your very own copy of this project if someone has given you a read-only link. So you can copy that project. And once you click copy, now you'll be able to edit this project. And this is your very own copy. So until you share it, this is only yours and you don't have other editors in here. But you can also create new projects a couple of other different ways as well, of course. So from the menu, or excuse me, from your dashboard. So this is what you see when you first log in. You'll see the new project button here. And if I click on that new project, I have a lot of options here. So I can start something completely from scratch. I can start an example project. So that's very similar to that sample project that I posted the link for. You can upload a project. So if you have existing LaTeX projects, you can upload a zip file and have those open up in Overleaf. And then you can import from GitHub if you have an upgraded account as well. You'll also notice that we have lots of templates here. So we have them broken down into categories. So for instance, if you're looking for a specific academic journal, we can go look here. For instance, if you're submitting to the GSA G3 journal here, this is their template that is that we've worked with them collaboratively on. You can also go and look at the entire gallery. So if you know you're submitting, for instance, to AIAA, you can search there. And we'll see we have preparation of papers for AIAA technical conferences. And again, this is something we've worked with them on. We had a question come in about where can I get free and free from copyright templates? That's a really great question. So all of our template landing pages will show a license for that template. So you can use the template as you wish, depending on what license is listed, either on this template landing page, or sometimes it'll say the licenses within the template itself. So then you can open up that template and look and see. All of our templates are free to use, even to users who have free accounts. So please feel free to have a look around our template gallery. We've got over 5,000 now templates, I believe. And if you have a specific journal that you're interested in submitting to, if they have an Overleaf template with us, they often have a link for that on their instructions for authors page. So yeah, you can take a look around. And then once you decide you want to use that template, you just click open this template. And there we go. And I'll give you a bit of a tour of the editor at the moment here in this AIAA template. So we've got the files pane over on the left-hand side. We have the editor in the middle, and this is where you actually do the editing, and you'll see there's LaTeX code in here. And then this is the PDF preview. So this is what it'll look like once everything is compiled. And you'll notice we have, and this is really exciting, this just launched like a couple hours ago, the file outline feature, and we're super excited to finally release this. And it works for whatever file you have selected, and it'll basically show you the outline of that file. And where it gets this information from is that you'll notice, and I'm actually going to go back to my demo project here to make it a little bit simpler, but you'll notice here that we have some sections. And so that file outline is actually reading where those sections are. And as we go into different places within our document, you'll notice that the highlight changes within the file outline. So you can also just jump around that way as well. So you'll see section is a good command to know because it really helps you organize your work. And you'll also notice that in the compiled version here, anything that has that section argument has special formatting that you might expect for a section header. So it's numbered and it's got a larger, bolder font there as well. So that's the very quick tour of the editor. I'm going to give you a few other tips here as well as we talk about how to use Overleaf specifically. So I had mentioned rich text at the beginning of the webinar, and rich text is a nice way if you're new to LaTeX to kind of get an idea of how to edit within LaTeX without having to know a lot of code already. It's also really helpful if you have collaborators who aren't LaTeX users. So if you're having your friend just proofread for punctuation, they can use that rich text link. They can fully edit that document, but they don't have to see all of the code. It does help if you can acknowledge the existence of code because it does still show up in places. And it's also still technically in beta. So it's not completely fully featured as yet, but it's still incredibly useful, particularly as you're getting started. And you'll notice there's a bit of a formatting toolbar up at the top when you're in rich text mode as well. So I'm going to go back to source, which shows me that source code. And then you'll notice there are lots of other icons and buttons here on the editor. So one of the things we've already seen is the menu, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a closer look into that menu. So the first thing you'll see are the download buttons. So you have the option to download your source and your PDF. You can copy the project. We have a word count feature for the selected document. If you have an upgraded account, we have your the links for those syncing services there. And then we've got lots and lots of settings here. And the ones that folks really like to know about the most that sometimes they don't realize are there, there is a spell check selection here. And we have spell check in over 40 languages. So I use American English, and my colleagues in the London office use British English, and we can all use our own. And then we also have an editor theme and an overall theme. So if you like using a dark theme, when you edit, feel free, we've got that there. And you can just take a look at the different themes that we have, and they'll have different colors of syntax highlighting as well. And then the overall theme, that's these heading bars in the left pane that surround that editor. So we have the default, and then we have the light. So if any of you had ever used LaTeX back in the past, this will look very familiar to you, that light theme. And then also down here in the bottom is we have our links to our documentation and also to our support team. So if you're stuck and needing some help, please feel free to get in touch with us or search our help articles as well. So the next thing I want to take a look at is our recompile button. So it just says recompile, but you actually have a lot of options in here as well. So you can turn on or off auto-compile. If you auto-compile, it'll just keep compiling as you keep typing. And that's really helpful, particularly when you're getting started with LaTeX, and you want to make sure that you identify any errors as soon as you see them. We're not going to talk much about errors in this particular webinar, but if you do happen to see an error come up, which will be indicated with a red bubble here, then make sure to fix that error right away because they build upon each other. And then you also have a couple of different compile modes as well. So